Hello, good morning. Welcome to, or good afternoon, or good whatever to you all. Welcome to another episode of Burning Wheel. We're playing Burning Crowns, the Burning Wheel role-playing game. The Kingdom making stuff. This is like episode 32. So, yeah, if you're a first-time caller, welcome. I get to see some medium to advanced level Burning Wheel play, I believe is what I would describe us as. So, got to see what this game looks like in action. But before we get into the actual play and describing our characters' beliefs for this morning, how's everybody doing today? Let's start with AP. AP Gaming Real.
Eric, I'd love to talk about myself because I really do. But I'd like to mention not only is Eric lifting 135 over his head like a boss, he's also launched a new show Saturday nights at 8 called Olympus Overdrive that has 6 participants. And people tell me it's not chaotic. I don't know how this happened, but I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it's at 5 p.m. Eastern. And it's 5
p.m. Eastern.
It's a cast of 5 and me as the MC.
That is 6, indeed.
Yes. And it works out really well. Yeah, it does. Definitely, the Sprawl is definitely one of those games where it relies on the dungeon world style of, instead of focusing on forcing spotlight in certain ways, your spotlight is determined based on the fiction and tasks at hand, and so the people who are most apt at the skills and required to do something get to take the spotlight for that. But it ends up working out pretty well. I kind of try to push things so I can manipulate that fact, but it worked out really well. And we just had our first episode. The YouTube videos are going out tonight, and it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing where that game goes.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, to give yourself an idea, we stole cars mid-transit over Mars and had to launch them out of the fire suppression, venting stuff of the ship. So, that's the style of game we're doing there. It's a lot of fun.
Doesn't sound very safe.
No, it's not. It's very Fast and the Furious. And, yeah, but you know what? I'm going to throw it back at AP, who is awesome and does a lot of stuff over at twitch.tv/APGamingReal, as well as has one of the best catalogs of role-playing game content at youtube.com/APGamingReal.
You know, I heard that at youtube.com/EricVulgaris, you can see almost 40 different systems, many of them indie games that have never been played by anyone else on the internet.
All right, now I'm standing up too. It's just a bunch of idiots standing in a circle.
Yeah.
That's true. You would be our rocket raccoon. I
don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
I'm not sure either.
It's definitely the second.
So, nice. Sam, Wizenfool.
Hey, I am Sam, aka Wizenfool on Twitch and Twitter. The Wizenfool on Twitter. I almost forgot that. Don't follow that imposter who stole my name. But yeah, I'm good. I've got to play Polaris with Eric on Tuesday, which was fun as always. I got to do the opposite thing that I'm doing in this game and play the existential threat instead of fighting against an existential threat. So that's always good. And then yesterday I played a Burning Wheel one-shot with AP and managed to fail every single time I rolled. The only successful roll I had was to open-end another roll that failed.
It's true.
It was bad. It was really bad.
Wow. I mean, that's frankly impressive.
So I'm hoping that means that I will
actually succeed on some rolls today.
We'll see.
But you never know.
Yeah, you never do know.
Other than that, I've been super busy with real life stuff. I got to travel last minute tomorrow evening, which is going to be super fun. But yeah, it's good. Life's good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And Daniel.
Hello, everyone. So, yeah, what have I been doing? Just, playing role-playing games. Started a Blaze in the Dark group today. Rolled up a Shadow group. It's going to be fun, I hope. I'm also maybe starting another group in the near future. Also Blades in the Dark. because that's popular, and I can understand why. It's like, just based off reading the game, it seems to be impressively designed. What else have I been doing? Been reinvestigating or re-experiencing Darkest Dungeon, which is always hilarious.
Yes, man, that game is frustratingly good.
It's so fucking good. Like, every time I load that game up, it doesn't matter if I've played it yesterday or 2 hours ago. Every time I load it up, I'm like, this artwork though, wow, this fucking artwork. Like, every time, without fail.
I love the Cove battle music. Love it.
So good.
It's my favorite music I think I've ever heard from a game. It's super good. Yeah, so I'm actually going to in this September I'm running a Torchbearer game, and I'm totally gonna try to like steal like Barassa's style artwork for characters.
You could definitely do worse.
Yeah, it's like so good. I'm totally gonna steal the torch for the light for different people. So like I'll have a torch and a candle icon, and like it would look. And I even have like the fonts from the game. Like I'm hamming that up, right? While we do, yeah, I think it'd be the first time I kind of say it on stream. Oh, what's up, Swarg? Yeah, we're gonna be doing the Keep on the Borderlands.
Oh, that's great.
Edition, old school. So it'll be fun. Yeah.
So it's just such a. Like, the game itself is just so cool in its design, and like how frustrating but satisfying it can be at the same time. Like, I've like, just in the span of the last 24 hours, I have like 2 small stories that I believe is going to haunt me for the next couple of weeks. Which is one, going into the Warren for the first time, like in this playthrough, where I was like, you know what, I've been playing this game before, I know what I'm doing now. How about we take like this group of people who like do some good bleed damage and who have like decent resistances to that, because they're like enemies in there have high crit chance and what have you. And I made that, like, put the group together and went in there. First fight I go into, everyone in the enemy line out crits the occultist and he dies before he gets an action.
I love that shit.
Straight up dead.
Well,
and then the next one, fucking next, go on.
Did you back out? Like, I would just back out of that. Oh my god.
No. We soldiered on, and I defeated that. I made it through that dungeon without a healer. It was fucking tough, but I did it. Then later on, that very, like, another group, but my highest level group, I sent in to do like, oh, they've just reached level 3. Great, I'll go do a level 3 ruins crawl. Stick my face in there, play through, go slowly but surely, like, the big tough armored skeleton comes out and it's like, it's getting a bit tough, but that's fine. Later on, I'm like, this is starting to get really bad. Then suddenly someone collapses into, like, they have their virtues tested, they get abusive, the Vestal, like, goes crazy and, like, starts hitting people instead of healing them.
The cascading failure.
Precisely. And I find myself being like, okay, I can maybe do this. I need to finish 2 more room battles if I just have enough supplies. And I look into my inventory, I'm like, nope, I have nothing. And I like, god damn it. And just at like that moment, I finish a battle, I pick up the loot, and the fucking narrator starts going like, packs laden with loot are often short on supplies. I'm like, stop mocking me, you fucking game! Don't you dare! How dare you mock me?
The game kind of reminds me of XCOM in a lot of ways, because of like, the reason why you're struggling now is often can be traced back to being like a bad fight that you had 5 rooms in the past, and being like, this is why, this is the problem, you know, like, just I'm my stupid occultist dropping the 2 heal and the bleed twice in a row, being like, okay, well that was a waste of a turn. Okay, well I really needed at least an 8 there to keep going, but anyways, okay, cool. Well, yeah, so let's play some Burning Crowns, guys. So let's review our characters and their beliefs for today, and everyone playing along. I have the beliefs document for everybody to check out. So we can all just look at that and recite what we have. So, AP, why would you tell us about Ronald Swan today and what they believe?
Very well. Do I need to recite it? Should I incant it? Maybe chant it?
You should use iambic pentameter to do
No,
so.
Why does everyone think iambic pentameter is the shit? Heroic pextameter is the fucking way you go, man. If you ain't using at least 6 syllables, you should get the fuck out.
I would just write haikus, so
incredulous.
Shut up.
Listen, I want Nordic sagas, not motherfucking William Shakespeare. That's all I'm saying. If you're gonna write a song about me, keep that in mind. Speaking of
Don't worry, no one's gonna do that.
Several people have written songs about me, by the way.
So
not only have they written songs about me, they wrote songs about an Etten.
Can I ask you a question? What's the difference between iambic and trochaic?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure Wikipedia does.
Iambic is like up down, I believe. So the thing that you are saying that's iambic.
Oh, so then I guess probably trochaic's the opposite.
And it also has the limp at the end, right?
Up down instead of down up.
I mean, up down and down up are the same thing, Eric.
No, it's like cosines versus the sine. You know what I mean? So like,
welcome to our show about talking about
look, literature wise. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Cool. Well, read them. Give us what one is.
Expansion and acquisition is the heart of civilization. Once the building of the capital Karasuno has begun, I will invite important business, political, and noble leaders for pleasure retreats. These riots will not even be a setback for me. My ongoing charm offensive will continue. Violence isn't a solution, and troops are not the answer. Whatever reparations and contrition must be obtained and displayed will be, and my explanation given to the people of Miven. All right, last time I fucked up reciting this one, but here we go. I have my enemies outgunned, outmanned, outnumbered, outplanned. They're going to make an all-out stand, and I'm going to need a right-hand man. I will draw to me a general who is elegant and eloquent, with no embellishment, to maintain my armies. I had to enunciate it, or I wouldn't get through that one. It's pretty bad.
You should change maintain my armies to like regulate the military establishment.
I don't want them to listen. The last person I had regulating our military establishment fucking walked off into a tower. So,
excuse me. I
think you fired them first, though. Don't forget.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need anybody to regulate for me. All right, I can call Warren G for that. I now want to summon a general named Warren G. Surviving is not living, and creating a city is not a country. Something must unify my people, a rallying cry to march towards, and a culture of excellence to maintain after my death. Magic is more than just a single sorcerer, and knowledge more than a single advisor. Dianora is just one woman, and unskilled in instruction or the arcane arts. Millions must bring me more candidates, and I must convince them to join my crusade. My final belief is, as it has always been, I am responsible to the people.
Okay. Thank you. Sulius.
Alrighty. So, my first belief, only the strong will shelters humanity from the storm. Skywatch has been useless in regards to finding the weapons of the faith which I seek. I shall search the Southland near Karasuno for the location of these holy artifacts. Belief 2. My brother is a proud man, sometimes to a fault. I have not forgotten the service rendered by Mason. I shall ensure they receive their just boons and make it known that I still believe they are needed in what is to come. Belief 3. It seems clear to me that that more of the untouchables, beyond the healed, can be brought into the Lord's light. I will endeavor to convince them that they have a place amongst the faithful, not one of ostracization, but one of welcome. And my final belief, at the dawn of time, Abadar laid forth the holy codex of laws and traditions that would govern the heavenly kingdoms for all eternity. We must follow the great reformers who glimpse the edges of the lawmakers' holy order in order to perfect our wanting civilization. I've been given a holy charter by Abadar. Word of this quest must be recorded, and new scripture must be drafted. No change to the instincts, and yeah.
Nice. And then
sweet.
Mason.
All right. So my beliefs for this session are... what sort of creature can strike fear in the hearts of a dragon? I will find out who or what the Regarvians struck a deal with, and make sure there are no more future consequences of that deal. There is yet enough fire in the hearts of men to steer a course over dark seas. Answers wait in the valley of fire. I will uncover them. And as the last member of the Nethesi and I I stand responsible where they no longer can. Skywatch is ancient and holds much eldritch power and mystery. I will assume control of it. And no changes to the instincts, but I do have a new trait and a new attribute.
Yes, and so let's talk about that. So part of what happened last week is that you are becoming more like a dragon, and the way we're going to do that is with, just how humans can have faith, or elves have grief, or dwarfs have greed. We're giving you an emotional die trait called ferocity, which is for dragons. And so how about you go ahead and explain it, and we're going to answer some questions to set it up for us all today, because I wanted to have that on screen. So how about you take it away there?
All right. So ferocity, as I have written it, to give you an idea of what the trait does, is as follows. The dragon's ferocity, the primordial fire of your ancestors roars within you. Ferocity is the birthright of dragons. The more ferocious the dragon grows, the closer it comes to assuming the terrifying form of the great winged worms. However, though they gain strength from their ferocity, it is also the source of their most infamous passions. It is an emotional attribute like faith, greed, grief, hatred. It is not directly tested like faith, though. Instead, it is a factor in many roles and situations. And my starting exponent for ferocity will be based on a series of questions, much like hatred and greed and grief. Yeah. So
faith. I mean, all of the emotional attributes, I think.
Yes. So the first question is, I guess the first modifier is a +1 ferocity if the character's starting power is 5 or higher. It's not in Mason's case.
Yeah.
+1 ferocity for every 60 resource points. That is not the case. Mason has 47. +1 ferocity if the character has murdered or killed by his own hand more than once. So that's 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
+1 ferocity if the character has coveted someone owned by another. That's 2. +1 if the character has ever been horribly wounded. That's not the case for Mason. +1 if the character has ever been tortured. Not the case. +1 if the character has ever been a slave to another. Not the case. +1 if the character has a hateful relationship, which they do. So that's 3. +1 ferocity if the character has ever engaged in acts of tyranny, which they have not. +1 if the character has a life path in the noble setting, which they don't. +1 if the character's starting steel is 6 or higher, which it was. And +1 if the character's starting will is 5 or higher, which it was. So that should start me with a ferocity of B5.
Yes. Okay. And that's a factor.
Correct.
Okay.
It also has some physiological effects. So the closer you grow to B10, at which point you stop being a person and become a dragon and consign your character to NPC-ness. And now there's a dragon in your setting. Upon that journey, a set of traits are incurred whenever you gain, whenever your exponent increases, like corruption. But in corruption, it is rolled randomly because it is the evil vials of dark and malicious entities. In this case, it's not random. It's just like a progression to becoming a dragon. So upon reaching exponent 1, I gain luminous eyes, which is, that's what it says. It's a character trait. Exponent 2 gives me mesmerizing gaze. Now, in this, for the sake of clarity, this is the mesmerizing gaze from the dragon in the Monster Burner, not the different one in the Codex. Exponent 3 gives me the trait carnivorous, which represents their appetite, right? Like it's like the meat eater aspect of it becomes something like dark and impelling. Exponent 4 gives me the keen sight trait. And exponent 5 gives me the character trait Crown of Horns. So Mason has a luminous eyes, has got a penchant for eating flesh, and has grown a crown of horns, as per their transformation last session.
And for those wondering, if it seems like there are a lot more benefits to this than drawbacks, it's only on the surface, because this is very quickly going to be a massive liability for Mason. They are essentially going to have to become a lot more virtuous, a lot less secretive, or risk becoming a dragon really, really fast.
Yeah, and pissing off a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that was sort of the goal. So, good, thank you. With that all being squared away then, and now that everyone has given off their beliefs, we're playing Burning Wheel. Beliefs are super important. You can't play Burning Wheel proper without beliefs. Let's get ready to rumble. I think for the first scene, I think I want to resolve some of that international or intercity diplomatic problems. Swan. So what say you? So let's do it. So this is Karasuno.
Oh no, I was in Mivan last time we checked.
Oh yeah, no, you're in. Yeah, but okay, that's.
I was in the streets of the Bloodbath.
So where we left off last session was you still in Mivan.
Yep.
So I wanna focus on that conflict, right? I want to focus on your belief about it. Do you want to pick up this session with you still in Mivan and doing that stuff, or do you want to let like a couple days to pass and okay?
I mean, I have a belief about getting it resolved.
Sure, but I wasn't sure if you wanted to do it from the safety of Karasuno and dealing this through
I think my bodyguard unit is proven I'm perfectly safe.
Sure.
I want to chime in with something before we set a scene and start doing stuff. I want to raise a question. Last time a month and a half passed and then a week passed. That takes us into Kothona, which is December, which means that we have changed seasons. So, and since we upgraded our maintenance cycle from monthly to seasonal, we skipped the maintenance cycle. Should we deal with that now before we start doing role-playing stuff, like character role-play? Or should we deal with it later?
We'll deal with it later.
All right.
Okay. So, let's, because I want to really just get this diplomacy out of the way. Okay. So,
listen, don't even talk to me and Sam about diplomacy. All right, we're destroying it right now.
Are you guys actually playing diplomacy?
Yes, we are. My community is playing diplomacy, and Austria took it. We're Russia and Turkey. Austria took a stab at Italy early on, and so now we all in one turn we completely consumed Austria. They're down to one province. In one turn, they just evaporated.
Russia-Turkey alliance is freaking impossible. I'm pretty sure that's just so good.
It's very strong as long as they don't betray each other, and I have no reason to betray Sam.
Yep. Oh man,
I know you think that, but you're an asshole.
Yes.
Is Sudden cringe in your game? Is
Sudden is Austria.
Oh my god. Poor Austria. I'm so sorry. Okay. So
sorry, Sudden.
Anyways, let's jump in, guys. So let's actually play some games. So So
Ronald is looking over his troops to start with, and is just like, Einhard, I really was expecting better from you, all of you. You need to learn restraint. I understand that if this was an assassination attempt, the force you used would have been reconcilable. But these were simply men who wish to be paid. I'm disappointed in each and every one of you, and I hope that you take the time to seek out Abadar in your heart and ask for forgiveness for what you've done.
Oh god. Okay, so I'm not sure what you mean when you say this, but I feel like your troops are really confused when you chastise them over how they handled this.
Let's go back to
with
the
all
part
due
where
moments
ago I was like, no, don't murder them, and they're like, murder. Now I'm like, guys, you should probably ask God for forgiveness for all the murder you did.
Well,
I feel like that shouldn't be that surprising.
Well, Einhard's gonna be like, with all due respect, sir. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they're asking for their money, but their pitchforks said otherwise.
Einhard, I don't disagree. Clearly, they were the aggressors in this situation, but they have a pitchfork, and you have a castle-forged steel sword. You've been training for months.
To defend you.
These men have been training for years. I don't disagree that the defense of my person is extremely important, but I believe that we're going to have to invent a new thing called variable force. A category called less than lethal should be established.
Sir, these are Mivanese men. Why does
I'm
it
aware.
matter?
Because the Mivanese are like us.
And you go back to the, and you say the same
argument as
speech from
time.
last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
I'm
time
gonna
he's just pissing off his bodyguards instead, right?
I'm gonna
they
put
just
my hand
roll
on
their eyes.
Einhardt's shoulder, and I'm gonna say, Einhardt, you are born of a Rogarvian noble house. The distance between Mivan and Rogarvia is less than the distance between Rogarvia and the farthest edges of the Sertovan house. They are not that different from us, and they are not that far from us, physically, culturally, societally. They want things similar to us. They look like us. They talk like us. We can bring these people around to our side as long as we aren't murdering them in the streets.
I feel like this is a somewhat private chat, but I feel like other people are listening, right?
Yes.
And another group from the bodyguards be like, yeah, but they run away unlike us, right? Like, they're a bunch of cowards, like, you know.
No, I understand.
And everyone's like, yeah.
Perhaps.
Sir, I think our men want your eminence, if I may. We want to do you right. You are our leader, and you have done so much already. Forgive us, but this was also the first time we could... Well, I guess some of us may have been itching for a fight. And maybe...
I understand.
He's like trying to come back around, right? Maybe like, okay, fine. But he doesn't mean it deep down, right? He doesn't mean it. He's soothing, like soothing platitudes. Like, you're right. Maybe we were a little overzealous. He doesn't mean it at all, though.
I mean, what's it going to take here, Eric? I feel like sometimes we have these scenes and I don't ask for a roll, so I'm going to ask for a roll. There
doesn't have to be one.
I mean, the thing is, I want to bring them around to a point of view where, like,
all right, yeah,
force is variable. A guy who's attempting to assassinate me is not the same as, 20 drunk men in the street with clubs.
So explain to him why geopolitically this isn't is this a rhetoric? Like, what are you trying to do here? Like, are you trying to explain to him that this is just like on a very on what grounds is this bad? Is this bad because just in general use of force again for your defense matters? Is this bad because of the geopolitical ramifications? Like, why is this bad, and how are you explaining that? I guess is the question before we make the roll.
It's a great question. I'm going to put a hand on Einhardt's shoulder. And I'm definitely speaking to the whole crowd of gathered bodyguards, but I'm using Einhardt as the person I'm talking to do it.
Sure.
I hope you can see why this is a difficult situation for me. These men are like any other man in any place. They came here today in hopes that they could have jobs so that they could pay their rents, gather wages, support their families. These men are average men, and they simply wanted to live their lives free and strong, as we are able to do, and they have not been able to do by the hands and pockets of evil men like that motherfucker. And I think Swan probably says that motherfucker, Henrik Eidelman, the man who owned this warehouse. And it's men like Henrik Eidelman. That's the ones who we should be turning our swords against. These men in the street, they did not deserve to die. I hope you can see that they are like any other citizen of any other city. They could have been born Rogarvian. They could have been born Brevish, but they were born here. And they were seduced by the dark tidings of fate and Henrik Eidelman.
Yeah. This is a persuade, right?
Okay.
But come around.
I don't
the
know.
Dark tides of fate and this guy.
Well, if he's trying to convince the whole group and not just Heinrich, I mean, I guess it could be persuade or oratory. It doesn't really matter.
Well, you specifically are calling out talking to Einhardt.
But I was using Einhardt to talk to all of them.
Right.
I mean, okay, I can do
persuade.
This
is perfect. I mean, a good example of failure would be convincing Einhardt, but not the rest of the party, or not the rest of the group, right?
I'd love to fork oratory.
No. You're not talking to the whole group, right? It's very much just to him. I wouldn't allow your power of speech over a group to allow oratory as a fork here.
But he's trying to convince the whole group.
Yes. All right.
You're talking so that for all purposes of this role, you're talking to one person though.
Maybe it's the inverse, right? Like he's pivoting off of Einhard, but he's actually addressing the group. So maybe if he fails, then certain individuals in the group don't give a fuck, Einhard included. But maybe some like do listen. Or
Okay.
I don't know what failing
okay.
forward is here. What? But
Yeah. No. I see that. I see that. No, I definitely think there's going to be some trouble with your ranks of just not seeing this that way, and that they just have a sort of exceptional stance for you.
I mean, they are zealots.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Equality and reason may or not exactly be the strongest.
Doesn't matter that the chosen gets like what he wants as long as he gets what scripture wants.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, I feel like I was definitely calling on some scripture-y things, but
yeah,
I still don't have doctrine.
Oh.
Well, if I can't fork oratory, I'd love to fork peasant-wise.
You could have
literally
talking
about the life of people.
Yeah, peasant-wise for sure. Oh yeah, exactly. In fact, this almost was not. It's very close to being a peasant-wise test if you weren't trying to convince somebody. If you're just explaining this situation, being like, "No, I gotta understand everybody's like this."
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll just take the one fork. I don't really feel like my rambling fake talk got me anywhere.
Historical Marxism-wise.
Yeah.
What's the base op?
3.
All right, and any modifiers for them not wanting this or being culturally opposed to the idea?
Yeah, absolutely. So like, I feel like you're gonna add additional obs here because they're obstinate.
Okay.
And they also just like killed someone. So
killed a lot of people actually.
And now you're like saying like, no, you protected yourself, but you did this in a wrong way. That's a very confusing spot to be in.
I mean, I'm hoping that given the success of the role, it's not that protecting me is wrong. It's that killing people, like killing these people, isn't what I wanted. The intent here,
he recognizes
was
that
like,
for sure.
we need to chill it with the murdering and maybe like recognize the level of threat that people face. And I'm like, Geinhardt, I can see a glimmer of understanding in your eyes, in all of your eyes, that we don't simply need to beat men to death.
We'll fight to subdue.
And then I put both my hands on his shoulder and say, punch up, not punch down.
We won't let you down. And yeah, cool. Okay, well that doesn't solve the diplomatic crisis though.
Yes, but I definitely wanted to give them an admonishment and hopefully prevent this from happening again.
You do, right?
Because the first thing that's going to happen are, why did this happen? And I'm going to be like, listen, it's never going to happen again.
Sure. Yeah, right. Okay, that sounds good.
So
what are you doing though?
Sorry.
What are you going to do now? Because you know that in a couple minutes time, there's going to actually be a armed group being like surrender, right? What are you going to do? This diplomatic faux pas.
I mean, you call it a faux pas. I call it not that. I feel like the way you frame this incident is the important part to it and not how it turned out.
It's like the Boston Massacre.
I feel like that's an uncharitable representation. So
it's true, the Boston Massacre did happen with guns, so the death was quicker.
Here's my thought, Eric. You tell me how far-fetched and crazy it is. I would like Swan to go to where Ollie's Tavern is. I'm assuming that there's like a gathering area outside of it, given how centrally located and important it was, and to basically like host a speech there, an impromptu. What was that one Farmer Refuted from Hamilton, where I just stand up on the soapbox and I'm like, listen, guys, this is what happened, and this is why it was bad.
So there's going to be 2 linked oratory tests here.
Wonderful.
You're going to need to convince the crowd that is like wants to beat the crap out of you and your guards to like let you into the city, basically, right? and like get there, and then actually have like proper, right? Get to Ollie's proper, right?
All right.
And so there's no confrontations. So like that's the first major obstacle, and then the second one is actually delivering the speech, right?
All right.
Getting through the getting to Ollie's without trouble sounds like a great reason to do a streetwise test.
Yeah, I was gonna say so I know I was gonna say I said second one's an oratory test because I was thinking you were gonna try to convince the crowd to let you through to listen to what you have to say, but like I didn't mean to put direction in your mouth, but those are the problems, right? You need to get to the place without trouble and then deliver the speech.
All right, I'm gonna throw this to you real quick. I don't know anything about Streetwise. Like, I don't even know what the skill is used for.
It's used to navigate urban spaces without confrontation.
I remember that Einhart was kind of a youthful rebel. Is there any chance he has Streetwise and can get us through this area?
Yeah, but it's probably like generally, but not like Mivon. So like it's going to be really difficult.
Well, I mean, I don't have it, so it's going to be really difficult no matter what happens.
All right.
I mean, it sounds like you can choose your task here, right?
Yeah.
You got to.
I'm giving you free.
It doesn't have to be streetwise, right? It depends on how Swan does this.
Yeah.
There's an intent here, and we can find a task for it.
Right. All right.
The intent is to get to Ollie's.
Unmolested. Swan's belief isn't about slinking there. It is about reparations and explanations. He'll definitely take the talking route rather than avoiding.
Sure, you're gonna talk your way. To it.
He'll bring his bodyguards in all their resplendent arms and armor, hopefully cleaned up a bit from the blood. And
hopefully,
Swan, and simply demand to be let through, but with an elegant speech rather than just being like, "Get out of my way, peasants."
Of course, right? And obviously the crowd is incensed, and they're like, you have blood on your hands, and like duel. Like I feel like there's probably people calling to duel you, right? Just in terms of like, that's just what they would say and stuff like that. Maybe not necessarily meaning it, but like you deserve you don't deserve that sort of hospitality after what you just did. Kind of like arguments coming from the crowd and boos and stuff like that, and so then. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult than what should be, I think. But like, all right, I'm just going to add like one. So you're looking at Ob 4 oratory, right? To get to make your way through here without, once again, another physical thing, right?
Wonderful, because what I really want is for my guards to start beating people to death again. That would be absolutely great.
Well, they're like keeping the crowd at bay, right? While you're like,
yes.
So imagine, so you kind of imagine the scene of like your bodyguards are sort of like making like a wedge for you to like walk through, and you see them. They're all like yelling over your guards as they're like making their way to Ollie's, right? And the crowd's like yelling and booing you, and you're trying to scream over them. All right, it's very, very loud.
What's the is there an obstacle modifier in this test?
Yeah, it's instead of a 3, it's a 4. Excuse me. I didn't have time to mute my mic there. I'm sorry.
People of Mivon, I'm sorry at what has happened this day, and I apologize for the events that took place. While it was not my hand that struck those men down, I am responsible for their actions. And I am here to make amends for that. I have already taken steps that it will never happen again.
Yeah, you're screaming this over, like, boo, boo, you saw, like, Rogarvian scum, boo, boo, and, okay, make your test.
I don't know whether I wanted to call in Henrik into this, but I feel like this is just the apology part, not the...
This isn't the proper. This isn't the speech proper, right?
This is getting to the tavern.
I don't have apology wise.
Oh, that would be a great wise.
It would be a pretty good one. I just got to figure out if there's anything else I want to throw in here to try to. I mean, with just peasant wise, that's really rough. 6 versus a 4. But But I guess I'm gonna have to try that, and I'll put a persona behind it.
Cool. So seven dice.
Yeah. 1, 1, 4.
Yeah, apparently it's red shirt day.
Yep, indeed.
Green.
I'll take that.
Except Sam is our commander.
Look at that. Well done. Yeah, good job spending that persona, dude.
I'll fade it because I got plenty of fate. And
Yeah.
All right. Well,
You manage.
persona well spent in ways that normally it isn't well spent. All right. Cool.
So it's tenuous to get over there. The crowd still hasn't really let up, but there hasn't been.
I feel like Swan
it's a
is
bonfire waiting for a match.
Yeah,
Right.
Swan is definitely walking straight back, but looking remorseful-ish. How he imagines people in remorse look.
Sure.
And like not showing any fear at all
Right.
at any part of this, and just expecting habitually that everyone will get out of his way because that's exactly what he's used to having happen.
Yeah. Seems right.
Perfect. All right.
Could go wrong.
Yeah, of
Totally.
course. I mean, I'm a noble. I don't bow before these people. They bow before me. It's
You should tell
complicated.
them that in your speech.
Yeah,
Yes,
you should
yes.
definitely say that. Citizens of Mivon. Yeah.
Could you
okay.
please shut the fuck up? It's
Your better
annoying
is
me.
speaking. Okay, yeah. So, so you got that soapbox, right? You're on it. You're kind of there, and what are you going to say to them?
You say, the price of my love is a price you're unwilling to pay.
Mivin, today's events are unfortunate, and amends will be made. I came here as a man, a lord, a noble, yes, a Rogarvian and a Brevoin, but also as a chosen one of Abadar. And I do not have the luxury of picking what I am to be, as any man or woman does not have the luxury of picking what they are to be. One does not simply choose. Oh man, I might need to back away from this one right here. I think I will back away from that line.
Okay.
Is that a thing Swan does? Like, is
No.
that...
I mean, Swan's better at creating speeches on the fly than I am.
Yeah, I just wanted to know because that would also be interesting, right? Like if he did that. But
I came here today to purchase property in this city, to employ men and women in this city, to give them work, to propagate civilization here in Nivim, this glorious land. And I met with a swindler, a trickster, and a con man, Heinrich Edelman, who sold me this property that he had not paid for workers that he was not paying, during a riot that he instigated. These men and women who simply wish to go home at the end of the day and go to sleep with their families with full bellies, instead spend the days waiting to be paid and not working. This is aberrant to me. Heinrich Edelman is a symptom of a larger problem of this city. Employment. There are too many here who do not have work that should have something to do with idle hands. There are too many who are born in this city and never see anything else. There are too many that do not wake up every day and see a new way that the sun rises. I'm calling on everything that Ollie told me about her hopes and aspirations for Mivin.
For sure.
sweet.
I'll give you, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Base up.
Right.
Base ob 4.
Sorry. Also intent, of course.
My intent here is to turn the crowd from anger at me to anger at Heinrich Edelman and those like him.
To shift the blame.
That property managers and nobles who refuse payment or play games with them, like when someone shows up and offers to pay them, that no matter what nationality they are, they should be supporting that, and they should be taking down shifty individuals like Heinrich Adelman.
Yeah,
It's those damn people on Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's exactly what I was getting that vibe from. So
this is interesting because your intent, or the way I'm hearing your intent, could easily be a problem for you later on.
Yes, yeah,
could be.
Yeah, I'm.
But
glad you
I
picked
feel
that
like
up
Swan
too.
is. I feel like Swan is setting himself up though, as like Hey, remember, I'm not just Brevish. I'm also the prophet of Abadar, and people getting paid is a thing that I like having happen.
Yeah,
you're the chosen one. You don't get to be prophet. Too.
Oh,
That's
right. Sorry,
job.
I misspoke.
Okay.
I would like to fork peasant wise.
Yes,
noble wise.
Yes, for sure.
Merchant wise.
Yes, for sure.
And I'll spend a persona point because why not?
Yeah, totally.
So
obviously the consequences to failure here are.
Oops, that was ob.
Well,
I didn't put the ob in, but I destroyed it.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, it was 4. Well, that's more than enough.
And I'll definitely fate. Well, cool. Fate hasn't been working, but you know what? Persona has been. So good on you, Persona.
Persona.
So you're able to placate the mob. They're able to. In fact, there's no additional, there's no outpouring of violence. Things are calming down as they realize that it was not necessarily you.
I'm really hoping that one guy in the crowd is just like, "Where's Heinrich Edelman?" And like a bunch of people are like, "Heinrich."
Actually, I think that's the next thing I wanted to do, was actually say that. And like people you see like in the back, like someone they grab him, you hear like let out, get your hands off me kind of thing, right? And I think they're gonna throw Heinrich Edelman into like that space in the crowd near you, and they want to see what's going to happen to him.
That's a great question.
I want to see what you would do.
Is there any chance?
This is Mivon, right?
Yes, I know. Is there any chance we could skip to somebody else's scene so I could think about this for a moment? I don't want to just be like, and I murder him in the street regardless of the consequences.
Right. Okay, no, that's fine. That's totally cool.
Batman.
Actually, I need to go to we need to take our first break a little early today.
That's great.
Okay, so then we'll come back after and fix that up. All right. So thanks for your patience, guys, and we'll be back in 6 minutes.